The latest from the Muppets franchise on Disney Plus features a group of side characters, Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, as they attempt to make their first album. Let's talk about the Muppets Mayhem. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my TV review for the new Disney Plus series, The Muppets Mayhem. And unlike most Disney Plus shows where they give you maybe one or two episodes at a time, this is all up. All 10 episodes of this show premiered on the same day. A bit of a rarity, I think, for Disney Plus, but you can check them all out if you'd like. And it is called The Muppets Mayhem. Before we launch into my thoughts on this program, I want to welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We put new TV and movie stuff up all the time. I try to post something just about every day. Usually I get about 6 up a week. And please consider subscribing down below. You can check that out as well. And if you hit that notification bell, you'll get the notifications of all the new videos I drop. So let's talk about the Muppets Mayhem. If you know me or if you have watched my channel, you might know that I am a big Muppets fan. You know, this dates back to, I mean, I grew up, watching Sesame Street. That was my show. And then the Muppet Show was on the air when I was just a little kid, and then was in reruns when I was out of diapers. So I watched it, I think, in reruns, but I don't know. But anyway, so I've always been a fan of the Muppets and fascinated with how they worked and Jim Henson and all of that stuff. So the Muppets hold a pretty special place in my heart. But this one was, when I heard they were going to do a Dr. Teeth show, I thought, all right, I personally really like the Dr. Teeth characters, especially Janice, sort of the hippie child. I think she's funny. And Animal is a part of that. That's, Animal was obviously kind of the breakout from Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, but, he's their drummer. He's a part of that whole collective. So I was like, okay, this sounds like something for me, but I don't know if people even really outside of like big Muppet fans even know who they are, other than maybe Animal. But let's check it out anyway, because I never count the Muppets out. They always surprise me. This is the first new Muppet show since Muppets Now in 2020, which was a mostly improvised sort of sketch show. And I think that had some middling results. And then before that, they did the ABC show, just called The Muppets, I think, right? Or there was a period at the end of it to like make it stylized, but it was basically kind of like an Office style. It was a more adult kind of show, I guess. And this is kind of back to the roots. I mean, this really harkens back to a lot of the 70s stuff. And the Muppet movie featured, the band as well. The basic premise here is, these guys have been a touring band for a long time and so popular, they sell out shows, but it turns out they've never actually made an album. So this record exec, Nora, played by Lily Singh, is, the label is struggling. The Muppet who runs it is this old woman from the old days of record execs of the 70s and 80s, and the studio is failing, so they say, okay, well, why don't we try to or the record company rather is failing, so they say, why don't we try to get these guys to make their album finally. People love them. Let's see what they can do. And so kind of corralling them into the studio and to try and write material and all of this stuff is all part of the comedy. But we really learn, this is like the most emotional Muppet thing in a little while. Now, the two recent movies, the Jason Segel one was very emotional as well, and then the one in 2014 maybe a little less so. But the Muppets, I have always felt, and this I'm sure goes back to the Sesame Street days, I've always felt that they are, kind of real people. I know they're not, just like I know the Simpsons are not real either, but they can certainly wring emotions out of me as well. And I think any kind of, I don't want to call them inanimate objects because they're really not, but anything that is not really alive that can ring those sort of feelings and emotions, I think, is successful. And the Muppets have the ability to do that time and again. They have sort of veered away from that, though, with the last couple of shows, right? Working mainly to make us laugh. This does a little of both. It really has a good mixture of very funny Muppet humor. They're not doing anything new, really, humor wise. It's a lot of like puns and breaking the fourth wall and that sort of thing. Like they I don't really do spoilers on this channel, but just, the end of the first episode, they drive their van, and they're literally like hanging off a cliff. And, the one, I think it's Zoot says, man, what a cliffhanger. And then Janice says, oh yeah, the Disney Plus will really love that or something. So, it's that kind of humor, breaking that fourth wall, tongue in cheek kind of stuff, puns. But because this is focused in on just these guys, like we don't see Kermit, Miss Piggy, all of the, I don't know if you want to call them the A-listers, the Muppets, but they're not here. This is all about these guys, and of course there's a ton of great cameos from a lot of famous people. I won't sort of go into that spoiler territory. Those are kind of just fun to see. But because we're focusing in solely on these guys, I think it gives us a chance to really get to know them in a way that I certainly never have. They were always very much on the side of things. I don't know if you'd even call them, the B-list crew. Maybe, they've always kind of been around. But yeah, this gives us a chance to dive in, and it gets very emotional. And I love that about this show. And it is a musical as well. Each show has at least one song. Some of them are original, sort of classics, I guess you could say, from the vault. And then some are cover versions of already popular songs like True Colors in episode 2. That one I didn't necessarily love because the Trolls already did True Colors a few years ago, but all right. It wasn't my best choice, but I understood what they were going for because it would certainly fit the theme. So all in all, I would say this is definitely one of the best Muppet things we've had in a while. Probably the best since the Jason Segel update movie of 2011. I keep saying 2011 as if that's a fact. I think that's when it was. I know the second one was 2014, so I'm going to stick with the 2011 on that one. But it's far superior to Muppets Now, and I did like the ABC show. I'm not sure if it all worked the way they wanted to, but look, I'm a fan of anything Muppets, and I think it's interesting. I know these are a little harder maybe to do because of the puppeteering than some other things, but it seems like Disney Plus rolls out Star Wars and Marvel shows, the way people change their underwear, and yet we wait years for new Muppet content. To me, it's not right. I would love to get more Muppet content all the time, but in any event, this is a really solid show. And the people doing the voice work, they really have that, that Henson ability. Whoever was doing the voice work in the 70s, they've nailed it for this one. I leave Muppets Mayhem with an A-. This is a really, really good show. If you're a Muppet fan, you're going to love it. And even if you're not, I think you'll still probably enjoy it. All right, so thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Dan Reviews It. Bye.